Welcome everyone to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus here in Arlington, Texas. I'm Bart Berger and I'll be your host for this edition of the Bowling University Profit Break. Thank you for joining us. Our mission here at the university is to enrich people's lives personally and professionally, and the Profit Break is an opportunity for sharing insights on how to grow revenue, reduce costs, enrich yourself, your team, and your business. Now, if you're joining the Profit Break for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you're going to be well on your way to improving your profitability. Now, today we're happy to have with us in studio Mr. Lee Summers. Lee is the president of Ad Tech and Media Offering for Creative Realities. They are a leading provider of digital signage solution. Now, BPAA and Strike 10 recently announced a marketing partnership with Creative Realities as the official digital signage provider of the bowling industry. Now, the partnership features 2 exclusive designations for Creative Realities, as first, the official digital signage and the digital menu board provider of BPAA. So Lee, first, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule for being here at the studio. Welcome to the bowling industry.
Thank you, Bart. We are excited to be here and looking forward to kicking off a great partnership.
Awesome, Lee. So before we jump into specific to what we're here to talk about today, you were brought to the bowling industry through Creative Realities through this partnership with the BCTV, which, by the way, everybody, you should be doing your BCTV. But tell us a little bit about how that evolved into this partnership we're going to talk about today.
Well, we all know that efficiencies come at scale. And so with the involvement in the BCTV network deployment at a large scale, we're able to capture those efficiencies and bring those over to the digital signage menu boards in centers that need or want that technology as well. So we're able to harness the ability to have a procurement at a certain rate. The software licensing is costing less. The creative content is costing less than you would typically get if you were to call us out of the blue for one or our numerous centers. And so we're just able to capture those efficiencies from the BCTV partnership.
Yeah, and we're happy to have that partnership to move on. So first, congratulations on the merger. Recently had 2 organizations, one of yours, Creative Realities, that's formed a new organization. Can you give us a little bit of an overview, maybe at 30,000 feet, about the new organization?
Sure. In February, we announced to the market that we merged with Reflex Systems. Reflex Systems historically was known for software, strategy, content creation, and recent years more monetizing networks through ad tech. CRI historically was the best in the space for procurement, logistics, deployment, huge digital menu board networks. And so by putting those 2 pieces together, we believe we're one of the only true end-to-end solution providers in the market that really focuses and has a layer of ad serving on the back end. So we start everything from procurement and design and strategy to deployment, day 2 support, and then we help you pay for the network if we can help there as well.
Awesome. And I believe today even you've brought a little video that's a little bit of an overview of the new organization and some of the capabilities that you have.
That's right. This short video will share a little bit about the processes that we take in maximizing a network that has digital menu boards specifically. So some of the sciences that we've learned over the years have been applied in this video, and we'll talk a little bit about after we get to see it.
Yeah.
At Creative Realities, our mission is to bring digital, signage-based solutions that transform spaces and places to inspire consumers and deepen engagement. Our in-house design team has been recognized for award-winning work that is not only well-designed and purposeful for the environment, but utilizes our proprietary methodology to drive consumer behavior and customer ROI. Every day, our brains are bombarded with thousands of messages, forcing us to constantly negotiate and deselect messages without us ever even realizing. We, at CRI, leverage the science of how our senses influence how we respond to visual stimuli, and ultimately impact what we see and how we respond to it. Harnessing this insight allows us to design for how our eyes and brains work together to make decisions. Our proprietary methodology ultimately informs our approach to creative design and how we can improve business results based on a multitude of variables. At Creative Realities, we employ 6 core methods to achieve these results: menu strategy, pilot testing, predictive analytics, price optimization, combo analytics, customer analytics. Not all menu boards work in the same way. Our goal is to apply insight and analytics to help determine the right message and the right place with just enough information to maximize efficacy and sales. We first determine the optimal viewing path based on a number of factors such as screen count and direction in which patrons approach. We observe how each menu board zone is currently working in terms of space allocation to POS sales data. We then help customers allocate the appropriate space in conjunction to product and/or sales priorities, and configure the menu board using appropriate space allocation and zone positioning placement based on how consumers order, align to sales objectives and priorities. We then continuously monitor our results based on changes in POS data against controls and other key KPIs important to our customer, therefore providing definable results that ultimately allow our customer to make more educated decisions on how to better manage their environments and capital investments. Let us help you test, learn, and grow your ability to drive sales where it can make the biggest difference. Connect with us at CRI.com for a demo.
Now, Lee, as a marketing guy, I am fascinated by some of the information you just shared with us. But before we jump into the science part, let's talk a little bit about the why, first of all. In our industry, we represent over 3,000 bowling centers around the country. And while we have, as an industry, we realize the importance of F&B, we've embraced that. Candidly, there's still a large portion of us that may be using static or printed menu boards. Walk us through a little bit about the why. Why change to digital? Why take that step?
Yeah, there's really three buckets. One, the obvious one is sales lift. If we can target in an item and measure the results of putting it in a certain place, we can prove sales lift. That's an easy one. The second one is really guest engagement and guest experience. Our studies have shown that we can reduce the perceived wait time in a line by about 35% when we engage a customer with rich media. The last one is really the one that most don't think about, but it's the operational efficiencies that we can gain from digital networks and the ability to change pricing very quickly within minutes versus sending off to be printed and having outdated information, or maybe it's a product you don't offer any longer. So it's just the ease of use and the efficiencies that we can get and gain from having access to the software.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I hope our folks joining us today caught that 35% the wait time reduction by employing this. That is phenomenal, and I'm hoping folks take that and take that to heart there. So you've answered the question for our one bucket. We've got another bucket of operators in there that they've started this digital space, right? So they might be in the digital space, have a digital menu, but it's not dynamic in some of the emerging technologies that you showed us in this video. Let's speak to that group a little bit about why take that next step, because I kind of refer to that almost as like static digital. It's not the dynamic like you do. Right.
Static digital is really, their main reason typically is cost savings on reprinting, being relevant. I don't know exactly their use case. I'd love to sit down and talk with them, but I can give other examples of how we've done the same thing. 3 years ago, we had a national QSR chain, a quick restaurant chain, with about 1,000 locations. And they had deployed digital 3 years ago. They came to us last year and said, hey, it's not getting us the benefit that we expected. So we did a deep dive. We changed the way that we delivered the content. We put some of the neuroscience programs in place. And we were able to see $1,500 to $2,000 lift per store every 30 days. We did that on a handful of stores for a few months, and then we moved that nationally. Now it's in every one of their restaurants, and 2,000 times 700 stores every 30 days is pretty significant. So we just use some of the practices that we just described in the video.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Like I said, as a marketing, I love the science in there. So you mentioned a little about the neuroscience. What we see, of course, impacts how we respond to it. Can you share a little bit about the science of, you mentioned in the video, how the eyes and the brain impact sales?
Sure. We believe that whenever you introduce motion on a digital menu board or dynamic messaging, audience is 5 times more going to see that 5 times more often. They're going to process it more often. We also believe that up to 70% of the people in line will purchase an impulse buy based on something that is presented on screen. Imagine a side item that's typically taking up 1% of your screen, but has the ability to move your bottom line quite a bit. Something as simple as a side of liquid nacho cheese, right? If you're going to add nacho cheese for 50 cents, then why is it hidden in the small corner when most people will probably spend 50 cents for additional nacho cheese? So if we can get something like that, and that's a silly example, but it just shows that if we can get that front and center and get more people to do it, then that's more revenue on higher margin items for the center owner.
Yeah, and that might lead in a little bit to what you mentioned in the video about the optimal viewing path. I was fascinated by that. This optimal viewing path and how we lay things out really does matter. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Optimal viewing path will come in a lot of forms. What we will do is we'll come take a site survey. We'll look at every location. This is additional benefit of why we'll be taking site surveys for the food and beverage areas while we're there installing the BCTV network. But it's not only the location, because a lot of times these locations are already set for the food and beverage counters, but it's almost like where the queue lines are going to be. Are they lining up to the left, to the right, or is it a center entrance? Because that's a different strategy depending on how the patrons are lined up. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the height. We'll look at the angle that they need to be deployed so that we can ship it ready to go and reduce the amount of time that we're on site.
Yeah, and again, just the science of that and the thought that goes in it is so different than what we normally think about as a small business operator. Right. It fits there, so that's where we'll put it.
Yeah.
And that's why we'll put it there. So of the 6 strategies you talked about, one of them was customer analytics. How do you use that with the center's POS data in determining what that best solution for them is?
Yeah, customer analytics is done in a few different ways. And you don't always have to be tied into the POS integration. We can and we do integration with major POS systems in the marketplace. And typically that's justified when you have a number of locations that you can bring us in on a project and we can integrate with the POS data. But we can measure analytics in a different way. We can look at A/B testing. We can suggest and give guidance on the same day of time. If you want to monitor what you're selling for kids' party time versus adult league time and what you're advertising on any given night, we can then go in and show some lift just based on some strategies, without even being tied into the POS data.
Yeah. So before we jump into the BPA program, which I want to talk a little bit about the partnership specific to bowling, you're a world-class brand, world-class organization, done a lot of great things. How might we have interacted with you as a consumer, not even known it? I mean, who is some? Maybe you can name clients, maybe you can't, but who have you worked with that maybe we might have known as a guest?
Sure. I'll say a little high level, but there's good chance every day in America, if you leave your house, you're going to see one of the creative reality signs. We're in most of the top 10 retailers across the United States. We focus in on top 100 brands. We're currently powering between 350 and 500,000 experiences every day in North America. There's brands that may have one of our players pushing to a TV wall, so we don't know exactly how much is pushing per day. So that's really big in retail. Two of the largest 5 C-store chains, convenience store chains in North America. The largest, you'll see our platform. If your doctor's office has a screen in the lobby or in the exam room, chances are one of 70,000 screens are powered by Creative Realities in doctor's offices alone. 2 of the top 4 theme park and entertainment venues in North America that we're working on. And then lastly, we're in about 20% of all major sporting event locations. So NFL, NBA, MLB networks as well, powering their digital menu boards.
Yeah, and we are very fortunate now to be able to take that expertise and leverage it into our industry. So let's talk in the weeds here about BPA and the program. If a member center was interested in doing this, what's the typical space needed for a center to be able to activate? Because we've got 3,000 units, all different shapes and sizes. What do you need to get started?
What's great about the food and beverage counter, they're pretty uniform. We've done some site surveys already. Our packages that we're putting together would be either 2 displays next to each other or 3 displays next to each other. So that physical footprint would be 3 foot by 6 feet or 3 feet by 9 feet. There are and will be custom needs, and we can look at it from a custom aspect. Some of our major sporting arenas may have 100 feet of digital, and so that would just be a unique approach that we would take for that center.
Yeah. So obviously this kind of technology, you don't get this world-class technology for free, and all the incredible data you share with us about the lift of sales and the reduction of wait time and the impressions and the check average, there's an investment.
That's right.
So what does that look like from our perspective to invest to be able to have access to all this?
Sure. And as a reminder, we're able to offer pricing that we're about to go over because of the BCTV network deployment. So for the 2-screen deployment, the 3x6 rough size, it's under $3,500 full installation. That comes with templates. That comes with training, onboarding to the software platform, $3,500. The 3-screen deployment is under $5,000. Saying you get the same thing. And then there's a monthly ongoing cost associated with this that's always typically recognized from the sales lift, but it's the software licensing per screen is about $18 a month.
Yeah. Fascinating. It sounds like a great investment. I mean, if the lift that we can get in all of that's just incredible. But it is an investment.
Right.
It's an investment in your facility, not like any other capital investment. Now, before we let you go today, just any final thoughts you'd like to share with us as we're kicking off what we hope is going to be a long and great partnership.
No, Bart, we're just super excited to be part of this community. We look forward to hopefully meeting you at a regional events soon. We are sitting right next to the BCTV team. Happy to talk to you about your individual needs, and just excited to be part of the family.
Well, Lee, can't thank you enough for the partnership, but thank you for coming down and getting a little glimpse of the studio here in the campus.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, as we wrap up another edition of the Bowling University Profit Break, remember that when you're focused on growing people, people will grow your business. We look forward to seeing you next time for another great episode. If you have any questions about today's show or would like additional information on how to use digital signage to improve your guest experience, you can reach the Creative Realities team at clientexperience@cri.com or call the number on the screen there. Also, you and your team can watch any of our previous episodes 24/7 by visiting bowlinuniversity.net. The Profit Break content is available when you want it. We have new episodes premiering every month. Until then, I'm Bart Berger, and remember, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.